the typical cavo surface angle for a tooth preparation, so that we will have a resistance form for it and the restoration under it. This is in this picture the unsupported enamel is presented, and as you can see, if it is incomplete, the enamel will fracture, so that we should always remove it by hatchets or anything like that, but we should always remove the unsupported enamel rods so that they would not fracture. And in this picture we can see the beveled axiopulpal line angle. The axiopulpal line angle should always be beveled so that it would not act as a stress concentration area for a class 2 restoration leading to its fracture, because believe me guys, the stress concentration areas always act like a stab in the back of a restoration, so that always try to avoid them. The third principle in the cavity preparation is to have a retention form for the restoration if that restoration does not bond to the tooth, like the composites. Composites are simply retained by having as much surface area as possible, that is by beveling. If we do a beveling to the cavo surfaces as much as we can, there would be enough retention for the composite restoration. But if it was an amalgam restoration or another type of, or specifically only amalgam restoration, here there are two types of retention form, primary and secondary retention forms. Before everything, you should always know that the most primary retention form for an amalgam restoration is to do a 6-degree inclination in the buccal and lingual surfaces of the preparation only, not the mesial and distal surfaces, but only the buccal and lingual surfaces of the preparation should have a 6-degree inclination, so that they will retain the amalgam restoration. And as shown in this picture, is done by making X, or the occlusal part of the preparation, is smaller than Y, which is the pulpal side of the preparation. And now, as we said, we should always have a 6-degree bevel for retention, but we should always have a 90-degree cavo surface angle for resistance, so that, as shown in this picture, the occlusal surface with the buccal surface, let's say buccal surface, is 90 degrees, and this is what we want for a restoration to be resistant, so that it will not fracture, and the tooth is resistant and it will not fracture. But what about retention? How can we achieve these 6 degrees? The answer is this. If we go to the clinical situation, we will see that the occlusal surface of the tooth is not flat, but it is actually inclined by 6 degrees from the horizon, and so that we can make the 6-degree inclination in the buccal surface, so that because the occlusal surface is 6 degrees higher than the horizon, so that we can make the buccal surface is inclined 6 degrees buccally, so that in this case we will have a 90 degrees cavo surface angle for the resistance of the amalgam restoration and the tooth, And also we will have a 6-degree inclination of the buccal surface of the tooth, so that there will be a retention form that is gained, of course, by the inverted cone burrs. Okay. The other primary retention form is the dovetail. Dovetails are amazing, guys. Always try to do them. The secondary retention forms are so many, but for example, we have the grooves. As you can see in the picture, the groove is a continuous groove in the tooth preparation. On the other hand, the locks are not continuous. No, they are confined with a non-continuation to the occlusal surface, and that is the difference between the grooves and the locks. We can see in this picture also the slots, horizontal things, and coves, also horizontal things that will retain the restoration, specifically in the compound restorations. It is very good. And this is the lock that I told you about. It is not continuous to the occlusal surface like the groove. And finally, the pins. Pins are very good for retention specifically in the vital teeth, because in the non-vital teeth we use posts. Anyways, pins are controversial, and some authors support their use and some others do not, because they say that they make microfractures and all of these stuff that jeopardize the health and integrity of the tooth structure. The fourth principle of a tooth preparation is the convenience form. Guys, do you remember that when we used to do the preparations, the class 1 preparations in the phantom labs, to prepare before the clinics, we used to make it as conservative as possible and as small and as beautiful as possible. But when we bring the base, like the zinc phosphate cement base, and try to condense it, the condenser will not go in. This is the case with me. I always try to make it as small and beautiful as possible, but the class 1 preparation, but when I bring the base, zinc phosphate cement base, and put it in the preparation and try to condense it, the condenser will not go in. Why? Because the convenience form is not convenience form. I didn't make a convenience form. I made a very small cavity. That is the concept of the convenience form, is to allow for the instruments to access for your preparation in all dimensions. And this is exactly like the straight line access in the endodontics. When we studied endodontics, they always told us that we should have a straight line access to the canal orifice and all of these stuff, so that our work will be good as much as possible. The last step or principle in the tooth preparation is the final cleaning of the preparation to receive the restoration. This is of course very important because it will prevent the unnecessary debris or bacteria, the debris that will jeopardize the retention of the restoration to the tooth. The bacteria will make secondary caries, will maybe go through the internal tubules and jeopardize the health of the pulp. But anyways, it is very important, of course, to clean the cavity very well before any restorative procedure. Thank you for improving yourself by listening to this presentation. Always try to know, spread knowledge, and construct the world always try to be kind to one another, and that is for the greatest benefit to the humankind.